This was not the first time of me telling this story. This has been years. It started me telling this story when my sister passed away. So this is like years of me getting to this point, to this layer. I always stand true by what I said. I always stand true by what happened. And I don't know if there was a right or wrong way, the way I handled it. I don't think that there was. And with what I speak with my therapist with, there was no right or wrong way to tell the story. I just had to.
Okay, so let me ask you something. Have you been following the Ashley Braxton situation? Because the more details that come out, the less sense any of this makes. Something about Ashley's story feels increasingly confusing. And I mean really confusing. The more details emerge, the stranger the overall picture becomes. And here's the thing, when a story stops making sense, that's usually when you need to start paying closer attention. So let's talk about consistency. For years, and I mean years, Ashley consistently shared her story with the same tone and the same details. She wasn't all over the place. She wasn't contradicting herself. She was clear, she was emotional, and she was consistent. But then suddenly, out of nowhere, she minimized the situation, claiming it wasn't that bad. This dramatic shift raises questions about what caused the change. Because see, people don't just wake up one day and decide that years of trauma were actually no big deal. That's not how healing works. That's not how people work. Now, stay with me here, because this is where it gets strange. Such a drastic change in testimony suggests possible external influence. I'm not saying that's definitely what happened, but you have to admit the timing feels too convenient, leading some to wonder if someone intervened.
What would the effects of those circumstances be on the younger brothers? Because it would be very difficult for them to, I guess, develop respect towards you and your sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't see eye to eye because the way they see life is very different than the way I've seen it. And so for them, it's hard, which is understandable.
Yeah.
When I'm speaking these things about their mother, these are quite harsh accusations that I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if you were not there to grasp what was happening, then perhaps you think and be like, I think this is a little far-fetched.
Yes.
And that was something that was really hard.
Speculation arises about secrecy or suppression behind the scenes. Ashley has stated that her father strongly discouraged her from speaking publicly. That's not a casual suggestion, that's pressure. Allegations have circulated about attempts to silence her. Combined with past family dynamics, the situation appears larger than a simple dispute. When someone is actively being told to stay quiet, when there are alleged efforts to keep them from speaking, what exactly is being protected? All right. Here's another piece of the puzzle that people keep bringing up. Observers note that Ashley resembles Towanda more than her stated biological mother. Now, I know what you're thinking. Resemblance doesn't prove anything. And you're right, but physical similarities fuel discussions and unanswered questions. The resemblance adds to broader speculation about family relationships, and when you start stacking up all these little inconsistencies, these little questions, these little moments where things just don't quite line up, that's when the picture starts to look very different. People keep bringing this up, and honestly, it's hard to ignore. Observers repeatedly note a strong resemblance between Ashley and Towanda. This sparks more questions because official family relationships don't match appearances. When multiple people independently notice the same thing, maybe it's worth asking why. Here's what really gets me though. Despite her connection to the well-known Braxton family, her story received little visibility. We're talking about the Braxtons, a family with a reality show, with millions of fans, with a platform that could reach anyone, and yet her views were consistently low despite her family's fame. That raises questions about whether her content was overlooked or suppressed. Was it the algorithm? Was it lack of promotion? Or was it something else entirely? Because when someone connected to a famous family can't get traction, you have to wonder why. After her sister's death, online speculation intensified. Grief has a way of bringing secrets to the surface, doesn't it? People questioned family motives and secrecy because in moments of loss, people start asking harder questions. They start connecting dots they might have ignored before. Let me give you an analogy that might make this clearer. Children often assume the caretaker is the parent. That's just how kids process the world around them. Applied to Ashley, this suggests she may have grown up with incomplete or unclear information about her family. Maybe she was told one thing, maybe she assumed another. Children trust what they're told. And when adults reshape that narrative over time, the child grows up with a version of reality that might not be entirely accurate. Speaking of accuracy, let's talk about documentation. Ashley said her mother's name was removed from her birth certificate. Now, hold on. Such changes require significant legal action. You don't just erase someone from official documentation without paperwork, without lawyers, without reason. This raises questions about who made changes and why. What was the motivation? What was being hidden? Or was Ashley given incomplete information about what actually happened? Wait, it gets stranger. Ashley mentioned having brothers that the public didn't know existed. Like, excuse me? This raises questions about unacknowledged family members and hidden dynamics. How many other family members are out there that we don't know about? What else hasn't been discussed? And why does it feel like every new detail just opens up 10 more questions? Ashley mentioned 2 half-brothers previously unknown to the public. If true, this connects back to her father and deepens questions about the family tree. How many branches of this family tree have been kept hidden? How many relationships haven't been publicly acknowledged? And most importantly, why? And this is where the Towanda theory keeps surfacing. Paperwork, confusion, plus resemblance, plus secrecy create a pattern people think is suspicious. Now, let me be clear, this theory remains public speculation, not confirmed fact. But when you have unclear documents, physical similarities, and a family that seems guarded about the truth, people are going to connect those dots. Whether they're right or wrong, the questions are valid. So here's the theory that keeps coming up. The theory that Towanda and Michael could be Ashley's parents. This popular online theory attempts to explain the secrecy, the paperwork confusion, the hidden relatives, the family reactions, and the resemblance. Again, let me stress this is speculation, not confirmed, but it would explain a lot. It would connect all these scattered pieces into one coherent picture. And then there's Tony. Tony expressed surprise about Ashley's claims. But here's where it gets weird. This conflicts with the fact Ashley posted videos for years. So either Tony genuinely didn't know, which seems unlikely given the family's closeness, or what? This raises questions about whether the family ignored or avoided her statements. And if they did ignore them, why? What were they hoping would just go away? Here's something subtle but telling.
It may not be your family, and that is totally okay. I am an example of that. You may not get support from your family, and that is totally fine. You still have the right to use your voice. You still have the right to talk. You still have the right to say how you feel. The world will try to silence you. People will try to silence you, but the world needs your voice and not.
Ashley is rarely mentioned by family members online. She's not in the group photos, she's not tagged in the posts. Her absence from their conversations stands out, and that kind of erasure, whether intentional or not, it says something. Ashley also said her stepmother added her own name to the birth certificate. Okay, but that's legally improbable, like really improbable. This suggests someone may have given Ashley incorrect information growing up. Maybe it was intentional. Maybe it was just easier than explaining the complicated truth. But either way, Ashley was operating with incomplete or inaccurate information about her own identity. Let's go back to that birth certificate one more time, because this is important. Changing a birth certificate is legally complex. It's not simple, it's not casual. Either Ashley misunderstood events as a child, or something wasn't transparent. Those are really the only 2 options. And both of them raise serious questions about what actually happened. Think about the contrast here. The family's public brand emphasizes openness. They're on reality TV, they share their lives, they're relatable, but behind the scenes, behavior seems guarded. This contrast intensifies public curiosity, because when what you show doesn't match what you hide, people start to wonder what's really going on. Pay attention to the emotional dynamics in the family. Observers analyze who protects whom, who stays silent, who speaks up. These patterns raise further questions, because family loyalty is one thing, but protecting secrets at the expense of someone's truth, that's something else entirely. Now look, even if some details are unclear, Ashley's emotional pain appears genuine. Nobody can fake that kind of hurt. Nobody can fake years of consistent testimony. Conflicting stories raise questions about what is being hidden. And just because we don't have all the answers doesn't mean the questions aren't legitimate. Now, to be fair, there's another possible explanation. Years of speaking without support could have worn her down. Exhaustion might explain her sudden softening as much as pressure could. When you've been shouting into the void for years and nobody listens, eventually you get tired. Eventually, you wonder if it's even worth it anymore. Now, I want to be careful here because these are unverified rumors.
Were they part of the package or did they come along later?
They came along later.
Okay.
So my sister is 3 years younger than I am. My oldest younger brother is 4 years. And then after that, it's 8 years.
Okay.
So they came after. And it's unfortunate that even now we don't have a relationship because you were just pit against each other.
Yeah.
So the household was like all for one and one for all. You better guard up.
Wow.
And it's not really healthy.
No, definitely not. No. I was wondering, like, what would that...
Online rumors claim Michael may be using legal pressure to silence Ashley, but this is not confirmed. Still, it fuels theories about what may be hidden. When legal threats are even part of the conversation, that tells you something about how serious this situation might be. People analyzing family timelines find inconsistencies. Ages don't quite line up, events don't quite match. This leads to more theories and speculation. And look, maybe some of this is just innocent confusion, but when the timeline doesn't work, that's usually a red flag. Here's what's fascinating. People are now revisiting past interviews and shows looking for clues. They're rewatching old episodes with fresh eyes. New interpretations arise in light of Ashley's claims, and suddenly, moments that seemed innocent before, maybe they weren't so innocent after all. The situation becomes more complex as discussions grow. Each new detail seems to raise further questions. It's like pulling on a thread you think you're just fixing one loose end, but suddenly the whole thing starts to unravel, and maybe that's what needed to happen. Maybe this story needed to unravel so the truth could finally be seen. So here's what it all comes back to. The possibility of a hidden parental connection between Ashley and Towanda is what many discussions circle back to. It's not confirmed, but it's widely speculated due to accumulating inconsistencies. And until someone comes forward with definitive answers, this theory isn't going away. See, here's the thing. Public discussions reference past allegations involving multiple family members. This isn't just about Ashley. This creates a narrative of long-standing family complications. And when you look at the broader history, when you see the patterns, you start to realize this goes deeper than one person's story. This is generational. This is systemic. This is a family with layers of complexity that the public is only now beginning to understand. So let me ask you this. Is Ashley connected to the family differently from what was publicly stated? Why is the family so guarded? Why did Ashley's story suddenly change? These are the questions the public keeps asking. These are the questions that deserve answers. And look, I want to hear from you. What do you think is really going on here? Do you believe the Towanda theory? Do you think Ashley was pressured to change her story? Drop your theories in the comments below.